Lesson 2, Contour Lines, Texture, and Construction, Organic Arrows. This exercise is all about exploring the bounds of all three dimensions of space and reinforcing the idea that you're not creating things on a flat piece of paper. Your page is a window into a vast 3D world with breadth, height, and depth to it. There's a video. You can watch that on your own time. Start off by drawing a curve on the page. You may want to practice these a bit on their own as well. Try to draw a curve that bends and turns a little. S-curves are generally pretty good. Put yourself in the mindset of drawing in 3D space. Your curve isn't simply sitting on a flat page. It's traveling through the depths of it as well. So we have our line. Curvy line. Okay. Now, next, draw the same curve a little below it. This can get tricky since it's quite difficult to replicate an identical curve. You may want to build this in segments, but make sure that these flow smoothly and flow directly into one another. Also, try and consider perspective. The space farther towards the back end of the arrow is going to be more compressed than the space up front, so all of the distances get a bit smushed. The arrow's width is going to be smaller back there, and even the space between different lengths of the arrow are going to have less space between them. So we have in the back, there's a smaller space between the edges, and the space between each curve is compressing. And then towards the bottom, you see that the space between edges is greater, and the space between the curves is greater. Now we connect them and add an arrow headed towards, Now we connect them and add an arrowhead at one of the ends. Fairly straightforward. And you got an arrow. Finally, add a little bit of shading at the bends and reinforce your overlaps with a bit of extra line weight. A good rule of thumb for applying line weight at overlapping points is that the line that crosses on top gets the thicker treatment to establish its dominance. Don't go overboard with this though, just make it a little thicker. Be subtle. So this is the final arrow that you'll end up with. The purpose of this exercise. This exercise is all about familiarizing yourself with all three dimensions of space and getting used to plunging into the depths of the scene rather than sticking to just the space defined by the page itself. So, mistakes to be aware of. Mistake: being afraid to let your edges overlap. Sometimes students are a little afraid at first about letting their edges overlap. This is going to make your arrows look very flat and is part of getting stuck thinking as though you're working in the space defined by the page rather than a three-dimensional world where your arrows are free to twist and turn. So we have here this terrible arrow to the left and this okayish ribbon to the right. Here's another mistake: not applying perspective. While this arrow certainly does look three-dimensional, it's still pretty limited to the space defined by the page. You need to let it push into perspective and explore the depths of the scene and apply foreshortening, make the farther end smaller and the closer end larger. And so, this is a really big one. So not much perspective or compression of space on the farther end, and it is a consistent size throughout, which means that it's not actually going into the depth of the space that you're trying to create. Yeah. So, example homework. And when you're done, your page should look something like this. As you get used to the steps, don't be afraid to rearrange their order to suit you. Sometimes I'll start out with a curving line and then add shorter lines across the width of the arrow wherever the arrow would turn. This gave me something to aim for when constructing the opposite edge, making things a little easier at times. Also, as you can see here, I don't worry much about letting my arrows overlap each other altogether. Okay, I don't want to feel restricted in my exploration of space, so I'll draw the edges however I please. If one ends up on top of another, it's no big deal. And so we have all these arrows, and you can see how they reach into space in different directions. Is my sound choppy? Good Lord, what have I done wrong now? Oh, good. I'm doing a good job. Hooray me. So we're going to do organic arrows today. And then maybe next week we'll look at the next one. So let me just do this. And so the way this is going to work is I will do what I can, and I will not do more than what I can. I have a shoulder injury, and so sometimes it is difficult for me to spend hours at a desk sitting and drawing. And I spend a lot of time wiggling around in existing poses that aren't actually very comfortable to draw in. So I do what I can. If it takes more than one stream to get just this exercise done, then that's what it takes. And I will try and cut those exercise videos together, I think. So that'll also affect when these videos go up on YouTube. But hey, that's how it goes. So don't expect me to do necessarily all of the homework for each exercise all at once. It took me a really long time to finish the boxes, and I could only do maybe 2 pages of boxes a day, and that would really exhaust me at times and affect my shoulder. So those are the limitations that I have to work in. And that's okay. You're not supposed to grind anyways. So let me think. Also, if you weren't here for my box critique stream, we talked a little bit about my Drawabox pen, and my first one has finally died. It went through all of lesson 1 and about half of the 250 box challenge before it started to get inconsistent in providing me the lines that I wanted. I spent the first half of the 250 box challenge testing other pens. So that's why I only had it for that long, I guess, as a measurement. I actually could count out each box that I did with it, but I don't want to do that. So anyways, it made it through all of lesson 1 and half the box challenge, which is really good. And it still actually makes lines. They're just not bold, consistent lines that you would want to do for your homework. So that's gone. And I got a new one. And I know that they're out of stock on the website, and there's a whole hubba lubba about that. But we'll get through it. It's still a very good pen. And I'll admit it's not necessarily going to be my favorite pen, but it is a good pen, and for the sake of further testing, I will continue to use it for Drawabox streams. Since people are interested in knowing how they work. As the new Drawabox pens ever come out, I'll test them too, I guess. Alright, I'm just zooming out of my pages back to 100%. And that way I can look at the steps for the homework. You should always have the instructions up on the page. I had a really hard time at the beginning of doing boxes, understanding even how to grade my boxes, because it's just a lot of information to take in. So I would have to reread the instructions over and over again until eventually it clicked in my head and I was able to do it no problem. I'll write that down for myself. And I'm going to try drawing curves. We're not necessarily going to commit to the first one being an arrow. So we'll just do it like this for now. Let's try more wiggly. I'm just making lines at this point. Okay. Let's try turning this over. It's weird. But if we connected them, what would it look like? So I need to try and make them a bit bigger. So what we can do is we can make something like this, and then we bring them around. This is kind of difficult though. I don't think that's working. Let me try reading again and see what they're talking about. See, and add shorter lines across the width. Okay, maybe we try like this. This is gonna mess with my brain for a minute. Okay, so then we would and then this would actually be like this. So I think that makes sense. Let's try a few more. No, that's not good. Okay. This is why we use printer paper. So that way we can just throw it to the side. So let's try making like width lines. And then we're going to make spinny lines. See, now that actually looks good. Like, so I think I understand. Okay, let's try doing that then. But we're going to be a little bit more careful and take a little bit more time. And I'm going to change my music. Here's my Discover Weekly. I think I had some good things in there. Okay. At least I'm not making a box today. Good Lord. Okay. So we're going to do a page, 2 pages full of arrows. Okay, so let's do like this. So we're going to make a line. Okay. These are going to be kind of, I should vary the size, but we're going to work on that later. So we're going to take from here, and we're going to go down a good ways, and then as we move farther back, this should get smaller. Okay, and we're going to try and follow this. So and we got to draw from the shoulder. Alright, so then the next step is to better connect them. And then we're going to make an arrow. Oh snap. Would you look at that? And now we add just a little bit of shading at the end. We want it to be darker towards the greater end of the bend, and then lighten more towards the middle. This also, I believe, better helps separate the front facing side and the back. Okay, and then we will go and reinforce the lines where they overlap, but there's not a lot of overlap, so I think I'll try and make the next one tighter. Yeah, okay. For now, we really only have these to give some overlap to. But that's an arrow. That's cool. You can work with that. Yeah, that one took up most of the page. We're going to try and make some smaller ones now. Let me bring this down. And I'm going to tilt you up a little bitty bit. Just a little bitty more. Okay, so to make this a little bit closer to the example, I'm going to make some more squish overlap up at the top and then bring it out more. So gonna try that. There's not a lot of that squish, so it gets a little crazy out here, but I think it'll be okay. So I'm gonna make some of this, and some of this, and some of this. So now there should be more of that overlap for us to reinforce. And then we're going to use our shoulder. That way the lines are smooth. And I think I tend to make my lines a little bit slower than most people, but that's a pace that's comfortable for me, that I've uncovered through a lot of practice doing other things. So I'm going to try my best. All right, so. Oops. Okay. Made a mess. But that's okay. I'm not here to draw pretty pictures. Okay. So now we're going to make the arrow. And then we're going to shade. Okay. And then so in the areas where there's overlap, we're going to have to bring forth this. So right around here. Am I doing this right? Yes, I am. Okay, excellent. Just try and be subtle. I'm a little out of practice doing anything. So I think this is working. I mean, it's messy, but it looks okay. Let's see where we can shove some more. Let's try. So let's try making one where the arrow is going farther back, which means the front. So we make this much bigger and this much smaller. And that gives us the information. Should have left that one open, but that's okay. till, I'm told to redo my arrows. This one connected really well. And now we're going to do it again. We shade again. So we want this to go behind. So our shading is going to be important. I'm mumbling a lot. Now this is work that'll really cross those eyeballs. It's like one of those optical illusions. I think that's going well. So we're gonna do a couple more. This is gonna be tricky to find. Okay, so let's do this anyways. So, big boy. And then you get smaller as you enter the atmosphere. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually move a lot of things around real quick so I can actually put this in the frame. And there goes my chapstick. Hold on a second. I gotta lean over there and... I really need this. Okay. So, getting kind of hard to see. I might get in trouble for this. I don't know. But we're gonna try and make you a wee boy. I don't know how well this went. This doesn't feel like I did well. That's okay. We're going to put the arrow back here. And it's not a very good arrow. Which means this is going to be closed. And then we're going to have to bring this back down. As I scribble. Don't scribble. Scribbling how you have to end up doing corrections. This is going to be a problem. All right. Well, that's something. Let's try and do smaller ones on the second page. Oh, and we're going to remove this so it doesn't get in the way. So we're going to make some smaller arrows. And I want to put the arrow here. So we're going to leave this, we're going to close this one. Then we'll leave this one open. Okay, and now we're going to carefully do our best. Not bad. Make an arrow. And then you just bring this down. And I think I'm going to actually reinforce these first, because that might help me recall which one is going to be in the front of the other. I think that's working out for me, and that's what I'm going to do. If putting down the shading works out better for you first, then do that. So this is what I'm going to do. Okay. Going to be a little bit more purposeful in my shading. Yeah, if you cross your eyes too much, they'll start swapping directions. There's not much that beats a fresh pen. Doesn't matter what pen it is. Fresh ones are always just, choice. Okay, so now we turn it and it looks super magical. Okay, cool. I'm doing okay. All right, let's make some more in just a second. Excuse me. I think we'll actually be able to finish this. And yeah, we'll be able to finish this one today. And then next week I'll do the, what's it called? Forms with contour lines. Yeah, so I think that'll work. I'm feeling okay. I got a lot to do today though. So, more arrows. This one's less wiggly, but let's see what we can do. I want to make the arrow on this end, so I'm going to close this. And then we're going to do like that. And I'm going to put a dot where I want it to end for the arrow. And then we're going to just try and draw from the shoulder, as always. And we're just going to do our best. That didn't work. That's okay. I think because it's not very, it doesn't actually have a lot going on, so that's part of the problem. So we're going to put that there, and then we're going to put this here. It ended up just, I'm going to say angled. It's kind of interesting. I wonder if I could just, like... That's weird. We're gonna do another one. We're gonna do less of this. I don't like it. And I want the arrowhead here. And trying again. Okay. And then, like I said before, I'm going to reinforce what's at the front. That way I can see it better. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot my arrow. Hello. I think that looks good. Okay. Okay, let's do this. Trying to be mindful of my posture when I'm doing things. I have a tendency to slouch a lot, and it's probably part of what keeps my shoulder in such bad shape. I want my arrow here. Should probably make those lines straight. Okay. Yeah, I probably should be making these lines straight. I've made a mistake. Don't be like me. Oh no, this is going really badly. It's okay. It's okay. You know what we do? We just keep going. We just keep going. And if I gotta do more arrows later, I gotta do more arrows later. Not the end of the world. Okay, so top line. A nice, subtle, reinforced mark. And we're gonna try and do these better. This line shouldn't have really gotten so skinny, but this is where we're living. I'm living in a moment of panic. It's not actually a big deal. None of this is a big deal. It takes time. You're not gonna get it right the first time. I don't get anything right the first time. But you know, we make it through. Let me just connect that. So let's try and do a better job. So we got room for some more. Let's make some more. That's working out. This didn't work super well. We're gonna keep going though. Yeah, this ended up being a bit of a thick boy in the wrong places, but that's okay. Everything's okay. I'm gonna say that over and over until I actually believe it. Make my little arrow, and it's just gonna smooch that little arrow over there. I wonder if I should do my corrections on live streams if I'm given them. I probably should. I don't think I'll get many. That's pretty good. I think one more. We can squeeze one more in there. Let's squeeze one more in here. Let's try and make it a good one. I shouldn't bring them so close to the edge of the paper, but here I am. All right, careful now. Alright, so this is the front, so okay. That's pretty cool. Well, all right, that's what we got. This is where we're at. So let's do a manual zoom out. That's what we're gonna call it. So we got these arrows. I don't think I did too bad a job. I think it's all okay. That was about, what, hour 15 minutes from the reading and the goofing off to actually doing this. So lines that have a much less dramatic fold situation are much harder. I don't know how worthwhile it is to practice those. But doing a little bit of warm-up doesn't hurt anything. So I'm going to cut this and do my very best to get the critique stream up. I should probably edit that tonight, but I'll try and get it up this weekend or Monday. We'll go with by Monday. And then I have the final thoughts pen review video. And then this one. I don't know what exact order I'll put them up in, but it would definitely be the box critique and then this. So at the very least, the next video will be the box critique. So you should subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that's where all these streams end up when some Twitch inevitably gets rid of them. So I have everything from Lesson 1 on there, and a bunch of 250 box challenge videos where I critique pens. A lot of pens. So I think that's everything. So next Wednesday or Thursday, I'll be back, and we will do organic forms with contour lines next week. So bye-bye now.